Alright, so with this haircut here, my client came in and said, bro, just do whatever you want. And I know a lot of barbers get that and they're like, alright, say less, and they just start going crazy. But me personally, I've never been a fan of client giving me full reign with no direction, because no client ever really means that. Like, if I was to chop off the entire head, I'm sure he'd be upset, you know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of coach through, see what he liked, see if he liked the curls, you know, if he likes the sides fuller. So we came to the decision to just shrink down the curls slightly and give him a nice taper. So this client is used to going to like a sports clips or great clips where they don't really do any really blending. They just kind of leave the curls at a shorter length. So we're going to throw in the taper and get him right. So we're going to come in and start this taper. As you can see, I debulked the sides with a number 2. And now I'm coming in to establish the bald line. This is going to be like a mid taper. I think this will be a big switch up for him because it's more clean. It's a more modern look. And we're going to get him together. So we took it down with the shaver to get it slightly closer to the skin. And now we're going to come in with the lever all the way open. And we're going up about a 1/4 inch here. And to start getting rid of that line in between, I'm coming in closed, and as I move up towards the top of that guideline, I'm opening up that lever notch by notch. All that means is that lever on the left side of the clipper, I start to open it up or move it down. Now we're going to come in with our 1 guard open, and we're going to follow that same exact step. We're going to come in using the corner of our clipper and give it kind of that round shape. And what the shape of this taper will allow me to do is make sure that I keep his arch or his C-cup area dark enough so when I line it up, everything really pops. And now for that line in between, I grabbed my half guard, and I'm really utilizing the corner of the blade when blending this taper because we're working with such a small area. I don't want to risk the chance of taking the taper up too high. And now we're coming back in with our 2 guard open because we're going to raise the taper just a little bit. Because originally when I came in with the 2 guard, it was just to debulk, but now I'm establishing the highest point of that taper. And we're going to blend down that line right below it with the 1.5 open. And then we'll close that lever little by little. And now we're going to come in and do some clipper over comb. And I like to do clipper over comb because I feel like I have more control of how long I keep certain areas. But you could move on up with your guard system to the 3 and then the 4. But at some point you would need to do like a scissor over comb. So to save time and be a little more controlled, I like to do clipper over comb. And all I'm doing is coming in and scooping out. And although hair is sticking out of the comb, I go ahead and get rid of. And we are going to debulk behind the ear because we don't want to mullet. We're going to taper his neck. And we want the area behind the ears to be slightly tighter. So when I go to line it up, you know, it's able to catch a nice line. So now I just grabbed a different comb, a smaller comb to be a little more detailed and attack certain spots. And now we're going to use our thinning shears over comb technique. And I like the thinning shears over comb because I feel like it blends not as choppy. When I use scissors, I feel like I can cut too much off and then we have a blunt weight line. The thinning shears really soften it up and give it, you know, just a smoother transition. But same idea, I'm coming in with that comb and scooping out. And now we're going to get into the neck taper because we do not want a mullet. We definitely could have transitioned this haircut into a mullet if we wanted to. But again, we wanted to go for something a little cleaner, especially since, you know, he wanted to give me free reign. I wanted to do something slightly different from what he usually gets. So we're going to start debulking that area with our 2 guards so we give ourselves a nice clean canvas to work with. And we're going to get right into it. But as you can see, man, the lowest part of the taper on this client's skin is like really white. And that's just due to like his tan line and his hair really covering that area up. But I love that because it kind of gives like a natural Photoshop. Like a lot of barbers will whiten up the bottom of their fades to really make it pop. And in like haircuts like this, you don't really have to do that because the skin is naturally so white that the contrast from the top of the blend to the skin just really pops. But now we're just doing some clipper over comb to try to blend into that length a little better. And we're just trying to debulk and give ourselves, something to work with here, so we're not cutting through a bunch of hair. And now we're going to come in and begin our taper with the lever closed. And I like to start off my guidelines with the lever closed because it makes it a lot easier to get rid of that bald line as opposed to coming in and pressing it in. And you notice that I didn't do it on the side taper. I used my trimmer pressing it in, and that's just because it's a smaller area, and doing the clipper closed on the taper on the side is just going to cut all the hair below it off anyway. So I just did the trimmer, but here I'm using the trimmer to bald out directly below that clipper closed. And just to make everything a lot softer. Now we're going to use our shaver to get it slightly closer. And as you can see, his skin is just white, you know what I'm saying? So this taper is going to pop. It's really going to catch attention, which is going to be good. My favorite compliment as a barber is when clients come back and they're like, man, I got so many compliments on my last haircut. And that's when you know you did your job, right? When not just the client likes it, when not just you like it, but when other people see it and they're like, dang, bro, where'd you get your haircut? You know you won as a barber. A lot of times, especially as new barbers, we get so focused on what other barbers think about our haircuts. But at the end of the day, man, those other barbers do not pay your bills. It really does not matter. As long as you feel confident in the haircut, right? You think it's good enough and the client loves it, and then people they know love it. Oh, you did your job, bro. You locked that person in. It does not have to be super perfect. It does not have to be, like IG Photoshop quality. All you have to do, majority of clients, is give them a good enough haircut, right? Go to some public place, whether it be a grocery store, an amusement park, anywhere. Look at people's haircuts. The majority of people do not have a picture perfect haircut, but that person left the barbershop that day and felt good about the way they looked and gladly played the person who cut their hair for the most part, right? So again, if you want those Instagram quality haircuts on every haircut, there is a demographic for that. But I will say it's probably like 20-30% of the population of people who get haircuts, right? The majority is that 70-80% that just want a good haircut. They want their barber to be on time. They want to have good customer service. That is the clients that will be with you through all of it. And it's the clients that don't put as much pressure on you. Because if every client of mine was super picky, I'd be stressed out, bro. So as long as I know now all of my clients are like that, I'm okay with it. But now we're coming in with that 2-guard on that back taper, and we're coming in and scooping out. And now we're going to start blending down. And step by step, process by process, this taper is coming together. And speaking about step by step and systems, if you feel like you've been on YouTube and you're looking at tutorials, but you really want to go to that next level, you want to get a little more detailed, I have the solution for you. I dropped my online training program for barbers called Dreclipperhands Academy, where I teach barbers my exact system of cutting hair to give out those Instagram quality haircuts, but do it in an efficient manner, right? Because a lot of times when people are aiming to do these picture perfect haircuts, it can get to that, but they're taking an hour and a half on a haircut, right? And it's just not practical as a barber, because this is our bread and butter. This is how we make the money for our family. So in this online training program, I give you my exact system to achieving those Instagram quality haircuts, and you're able to get them out the chair in 30-45 minutes. So if you're a barber who feels like they really want to grow and go to that next level, join my online training program. We have about 217 students enrolled, and there's also a community Discord chat where all you guys are able to get feedback from each other, feed off of each other. And like they always say, right, your community is super important when you're trying to grow. Getting around like-minded individuals is super essential to your growth. So if that is something you'd be interested in, go ahead and tap the link in the description and join the online training program. I hope to see you there. And now we're going to begin the taper on the other side, and we're going to follow that same exact system. We're coming in with that 2-guard to debulk, and then we're going to get into our steps. And now we're going to get into it. So we're establishing that bald line, building that strong foundation, which is why we do the debulking and why we do nice clean guidelines, is because when you start on a foundation that is strong, just like a house, right, all you have to do is build on top of that, so that way you can get that picture perfect haircut that you look for. So deep walking, making sure you have a nice clean bald line, and then getting into the fade or the taper or whatever haircut you're gonna do is super important, right? Because you give yourself that nice clean area to work with, right? If you're just cutting through all this hair trying to get your guidelines in, it can get a little messy, a little overwhelming. So having nice like processes and systems is super important, right? Like getting that nice clean canvas to start on. And now we're gonna come in with the lever all the way open, going up about that 1/4 inch, and we're gonna work our way up step by step in this taper. But fam, we are about a couple weeks away from opening Clipperhands Barbershop. So our first day in the shop will be November 1st, which is a Friday. And then that Sunday, November 3rd, I will be having the grand opening, right? There'll be food, music. I'm gonna be offering free haircuts, me and the barbers, based on availability. But I'm just encouraging everybody to bring their friends and family. I know a lot of you guys aren't in Ohio, but if you are someone who follows me and you're in Ohio and you want to pull up to show support, this Sunday, November 3rd, not this Sunday, sorry, Sunday, November 3rd, I will be having my grand opening. It begins at 3. I'll go ahead and put the flyer up right here. It'd be super dope if some of my supporters could show up and just check out the barbershop. It's going to be amazing time, right? Just chilling with people, trying to be that community hub. That's a big thing I've been learning. Opening the shop is making your business feel like it's a part of the community, especially a barbershop, is going to be super important and vital to its success. So I'm just trying to do the things, you know, in order to build that build that reputation, really, by stopping at businesses, talking to local people, letting them know there's a barbershop coming into town. Super important stuff. And if you're a barbershop owner and you got some advice for me, drop a comment down below. I'm always open to advice on how you run your business and how you market it to get other barbers busy. Because the big thing is, I know me personally, I could get busy, right? I've been working by myself for 3 years, and I know how to get clients from myself, right? But my biggest thing is making sure that this barbershop is successful with or without me, right? Because at some point, you know, cutting full time, one of the goals is to just be more of an educator and teach and make content full time. So my goal is not to just be in the barbershop all day, every day. And I want the people that are a part of the barbershop to eat without me being there. And being able to build that reputation for the barbershop and not Dreclipperhands is going to be super important. That's something I'm really focusing on, because I want my barbers to be successful, like I said, with or without me there, you know. So if you have some advice on how to do that, let me know. I'm definitely open to it. But go ahead and check out my last video where I took you guys through a tour of what it looks like. It looks amazing. My signage just got put up the other day, and I'm very happy with how it came out. So again, Clipperhands Barbershop coming November 1st, grand opening on November 3rd. I would love to see you there. And combing down the hairs is super important when doing a lineup. I see a lot of barbers just kind of line up the hair once, get a nice clean line, and leave it. But if you move that hair around or you comb it, you have so much hair that kind of overhangs. So even when I'm doing a front lineup or a neck lineup just like this, I always like to comb it back down after I line it up about 2 or 3 times, just to make sure that that line is really in there. So that way when they go home, wash their hair, style it, right, it doesn't move. It looks exactly the same. And now we're lining up its arch, framing it out. We're starting at the top and then going to the bottom and meeting it in the middle. And that taper is looking super clean. And now we're coming to the other side of his head, and we're going to follow that same exact process. We're starting at the top of the ear, trying to get that nice, you know, round shape without digging into it too much. And then we're going to move towards the bottom of the nape and clean that up as well. That's going to help you, you know, not push it in or dig into the hair more than you need to in order to get that nice clean line. And it's super important to have reference points, right? Which is why when I say I'm lining up the arch, I start at the top and then go to the bottom. I'm not just aimlessly going into the lineup, because that's how you get lost and push clients back, and you don't want to do that. But look at that, man. The taper is looking super clean. And now we're going to get into the trim, so that way, you know, the transition from the taper into the length on the sides and back isn't as drastic. We want more of a clean, look. So you want to make sure that you saturate the client's hair, so that way when you're combing through it, you're not tugging and you have nice clean sections that you're able to grab. So I'm starting in the front, and we're going to be taking off about a 1/2 inch, starting in the front and then working towards our back, going down the middle, and then we'll use that guideline for the left and the right side as well as the sides. And now we're getting towards his ridge, and as you can see, we're keeping that nice squared shape. We don't want to give him like a triangle where we cut it at an angle. We want to have a nice round shape on his curls. And now we're coming to the other side, and we're using that middle guideline as the reference point for trimming this side as well. And one thing you'll notice in the front of his lineup is it looks like the last person who cut his hair tried to line up the front, and I wasn't sure why, right? Because he doesn't wear his hair back, he wears it forward and covering up the fringe, and there's not really a point to having a lineup if you wear your hair in that way. So I asked him, yo, do you want to reline it or do you want to keep it natural and let it grow back? So we came to the decision to let it grow back. And then after we trim it, we went ahead and kind of, messed the hair up, made it go back to where it naturally wants to. And we're just going to clean up the fringe, make sure it's not overhanging, too much. Because again, we want that nice clean look. But look at that taper though, that taper into the curls. Simple, clean cut, but it definitely was a transformation from how he came in. And I'm happy I went with the taper, a little more on the conservative side. I didn't want to go super tight to the skin, because I kind of asked him for pictures of what his old haircuts look like, and I was like, all right, I think a taper is gonna fit you best, right? Because as a barber, obviously I want to be super creative. Sometimes I want to throw a design in there, but I also want a haircut that's gonna grow back nicely on a client and suit them and their lifestyle. But we're using our diffuser to go ahead and dry the hair, give the curls some volume. And come on, man, what are we talking about? Look at that taper, look at the curls, look at this style. Family, I hope this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Make sure you leave a like and a comment down below. And again, if you want to go more in depth, join Dreclipperhands Academy by tapping the link in the description. I hope to see you part of the community, but like always, I will catch y'all next time. Peace.